Yeah, yeah. Yo, yo. AR Uplifting. MH Dillinger. Yeah. Shout out Well Versed Entertainment. Local losers. Yeah. Bars with Bell. Yo, yo. Yeah. We go. Just like a yo-yo. Yeah. We go. Up and down on the beat. You better check the levels when I'm pounding my feet. Hulk mode. I might crack the ground. What's beneath come bubbling to the surface. What you get is more heat, more feet stomping down when I'm stepping with the crew. Stepped up out the booth and all you saw was one dude that's breaking the resistance. Well versed in my craft. Never will I stop to uplift is my task. We go up and down on the beat. You better check the levels when I'm pounding my feet. Hulk mode. I might crack the ground. What's beneath come bubbling to the surface. What you get is more heat, more feet stomping down when I'm stepping with the crew. Stepped up out the booth and all you saw was one dude that's breaking the resistance. Well versed in my craft. Never will I stop to uplift is my task. Verse 1. If you're performing rehearse, son, the more work that you put in, the more that the words come. Proficient you must be in battle, the swordsman with the steady hand strikes first and he left none. Profound. Take a minute and toast one. I roll up pondering life, listening to kick drums, plotting the uprising to find a better way, hoping that you'll pump the track, run it back and press play. Yeah, yo yo. Yeah, y'all get it. Just like a yo yo. We go up and down. Yeah, just like a yo yo. Yeah, they are uplifting. Bless.
Okay, bro. I basically started the same question with everybody, and like, how'd you get your name?
Yeah, so it started out just as AR, which was pretty basic as my initials, but it was also articulate rhymes, always real. I had some variations on the AR that I played with, but over the years, just through feedback and that, I find that you can't search AR. There's too many ARs.
Right.
There's AR this, AR that. So nobody could find my music when I tell them about it, right? Unless I sent them a link or something. So when I started making music, I kind of had the thought process that my music was going to be called like its own kind of genre, uplifting music.
Right.
So I kind of ran with that, and I just made it AR Uplifting. And I had kind of thought about making it like a statement, AR is uplifting or something like that, but AR Uplifting is what stuck.
Right. That's dope.
Yeah, man.
And then, how'd you come up with like your symbol for it?
So when I was real young, my background is Trinidadian. My
Right.
dad's Trinidadian, so I'm mixed Canadian Trini. And used to go down all the time with my dad. And my dad bought me my first ring. It's this lion ring here.
Dope.
And then I got that A ring. And I've got the R as well. So I kind of just played on that. And once I got the A and the lion, I knew that I had to get the R for the AR, right?
Yeah, that's dope.
So I have a good business contact. I-75 is his name. Makes beats and stuff like that. He set me up early with a lot of beats and a lot of knowledge on the hip hop game and stuff like that, and recording and all that. But he's a graphic designer by trade.
Nice.
So he's done quite a few graphics and images for me and album stuff over the years. But he's the one who came up with that logo.
That's dope.
We kind of played with ideas back and forth, and yeah.
Were you born here in Trinidad?
I was born in London, Ontario, here in Canada. Yeah.
And what made you make your way out to BC?
Long story, man. Well, not really a long story, but a lot of things kind of led up to it, I guess.
Right.
I was on a college co-op in 2012, and I moved to Edmonton for 8 months to do that, just for work stuff, right? And I went back, finished my program. It was a 3-year college program. And then the company I was doing the co-op with hired me back in Edmonton. So I went there and I lived there for 5 years. I met my now fiance, and we've kind of been living together for the last 5-6 years. Time flies.
Yeah.
But she's always wanted to live in BC. Her
Right.
brother got married in Kelowna in 2017. That was the first time I came. And as soon as I came here, and I was
Just fell in love.
yeah, this is the place to be. And
especially in the summertime.
yeah, and you know, it's kind of like there's nowhere else I've been in Canada that's like this. You know? And it's just an amazing vibe. The people here have been great, and we just kind of took the jump to make the move because I was looking for a change with work. I've been construction has been where I kind of did everything.
Yeah.
The last few years before we moved here, I was doing demolition work.
Nice.
And it just wasn't really gratifying for me, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. I like building things more than breaking them down and that.
Right.
So I was looking for a change, and I looked at different woodworking programs across the country.
Yeah.
That's where I first started doing my construction stuff, right? Was carpentry and that. And there was a great program here at the college, Okanagan College, studio woodworking, so like furniture grade woodworking and stuff.
Yeah.
Applied for that, and I got in, so that kind of projected us to make the move, and that was a 1-year program. 3 years later, I'm here, and
that's dope.
yeah, I just love it, man.
You said that you got most of your beats from your buddy. Do you do any of the beats yourself?
Not that I put anything out with.
Right.
I experimented with beat making when I was younger, and it just never really went anywhere. You know,
Right.
I didn't buy any programs, just whatever. You know,
At
cheap.
what age did you get into it?
Into hip hop in general, or making
Yeah,
music?
hip hop in general, and like writing and making. Did beats come first?
Yeah, well, I think it was a mix. So, like, when I was younger, I didn't really write. I would just freestyle,
Right.
sort of thing. Because my older brothers and my cousins kind of were my influence, you know, in the home with that. My oldest brother, Josh, and my cousin, Yannick, were just, like, freestyle masters, you know.
Right.
And I always wanted to attain that level of skill, and, like, that was something I always looked up to. So I didn't write too much in my young years.
Right.
We would just freestyle and, you know, on all the hot hip-hop beats back then, right? But then the beat making kind of just came in line with that. So I did more probably of the beat making at a younger age.
Right.
And then started really writing music kind of more in my, you know, teenage years.
Yeah.
And in 2011, 2012, I started like recording in a better setting and, you know, getting tracks out and actually publishing.
Getting serious about it.
Yeah. And even then, I didn't really know much about mixing and mastering. So a lot of those songs that I did in my early years, I perform a lot of them still.
Yeah.
But you won't find them on Spotify. You might find them on my SoundCloud because just the audio quality is just not what I'm doing today, right?
Yeah.
So like I just didn't really know.
Yeah.
I went to a studio. The first studio I went and recorded a track, and it's one of my favorite tracks called Real. And I recorded it, and the engineer just recorded it for me.
Right.
And I was like, cool, finished product. You know, like there's no mixing, no mastering. Yeah, so if you listen to it now, it's like the audio quality's
Well,
terrible.
do you still have that file?
Uh,
like your master or whatever for it?
No, you know, I think I lost all those studio files, but that's something I would re-record, you know, at this point, at some point, you know, just make time for it. But yeah, I just didn't really know much about the sound side of things. I was very, you know, I had lots to say and lots to get out, but I just didn't know how to, you know, polish it.
Right. So do you do all your stuff like in like a home studio yourself, or do you go to a studio?
At this point, I go to a studio. There's quite a few tracks that I have done the mixing and mastering myself.
Yeah.
You know, and for years, I do have a home setup for a studio, and I still do record some vocals and stuff, but for the mixing and mastering of things now, I outsource that.
Yeah.
There's somebody who has a better ear for it.
Back there, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man.
What kind of like music were you listening to, like that kind of inspired you to start with hip hop and everything?
Yeah.
It's obviously coming from your brothers.
Yeah, well, a bit for sure. Like my oldest brother's 5 years older than me, and my next oldest brother is 3 years older than me. So they influeed what I was listening to for sure.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you know, it was a lot of Wu-Tang, you know, Tupac, DMX, Gangstar, you know, Guru. He's one of those heavy influences, and you can kind of hear that in my style, right? But he's, you know, the monotone flows and just, you know, that really is something that sits with me, and I really enjoy that type of hip hop where it's, you know, a storytelling and you kind of get into the music. But also, you know, growing up in the household that I did, I had a lot of musical influences that weren't just hip hop, you know. So my dad's Trinidadian, so we were listening to a lot of soca and calypso in the house, or old school R&B and that sort of stuff. So I think all of that has had an influence on my sound and where I'm at today. But I think the core hip hop I was listening to back then was like the Wu-Tangs and that. And being from London, a couple of those local Toronto artists,
Right.
like Cardinal back in the day,
Yeah.
and Shaw Claire and those guys.
Yeah.
So we were listening to all that. It was more of an East Coast influence for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where it kind of started, man.
Yeah, that's dope. Do you play any like instruments or anything like that?
No, I don't. I wish I was skilled enough to do
Yeah.
that. Elementary school band, grade 8 or whatever, I tried the trumpet.
Yeah.
Got put on the drums because I couldn't. Yeah, they were like, "Nah, man, go try the drums." So I could at least keep a beat on the drums, but I haven't, put in the energy to learn how to, read music and all of that. So
Right.
yeah, I just keep to writing and performing.
Right. Do you have lots of stuff on Spotify? And like Apple Music, I guess, all streaming platforms?
Yeah, so, those main streaming platforms, I think there's like 6 or 7 tracks on that now.
Right.
But the bulk of my catalog is on SoundCloud.
Right.
And again, that's just for those same reasons, the audio quality. But I think the music is still good and it's good content in that.
Yeah.
And if people, dive into my music and want more, they can go and get that, on SoundCloud.
Do you have any future releases like planned already for your like Spotify and whatnot?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've got 3 releases that are recorded and ready to go.
Yeah.
So I think this track we did here, I'm going to release that a month after the video drops. So that'll be February 25th. That one's going to drop on streaming platforms.
So.
And then I think what I'm aiming to do is kind of on a monthly basis for the next 3-4 months, drop a track. Got a couple collaborative tracks that I've been working on and I'm excited about. I haven't done too much collaborative works in my years of making music.
Yeah.
So
something you want to get into more?
Yeah, man.
Dope.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what the music is about, right? It's connecting with people, and other artists connecting with people too. Is just, a lot of magic can happen when you got talented people in a room, right? So, also being new to this community, that's just a kind of no-brainer, right? Just to try to meet people and get involved with what's going on here already.
Definitely.
And it seems like a great place to do that too.
Yeah. Do you have any shows planned? Nothing
in the works right now. I'm hoping to do. I don't really perform that often.
Right.
Last year I performed 2 times for the year.
Yeah.
I'd like to perform more like 4 to 6 times a year.
Yeah.
To keep a demand too, right? Like I don't want to be performing all the time, so that it gets a little played out, right?
Right.
You have a bit of more of a draw if it's only occasionally that you perform. But yeah, so this year I'm looking to perform probably 3-4 times.
Right.
And hopefully making some headway on some of that, lining it up. But I don't have anything firmed up for the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like to just like keep it limited. It's super good, kind of like motto, I guess.
Yeah, man. Like I have nothing against performing lots of times, and I think it's a great thing for practicing and getting comfortable. But I've been performing since 2013, and I feel like that's kind of the best value that I've seen. Right? Like you can try to be like, okay, we're gonna do weekly shows or monthly shows, but the draw dies out. You're not gonna have the same people coming every week, right? Unless they're those diehard fans or whatever, right? So if you make
be pumping out new tracks constantly, or else it's getting bored of being
exactly
like the same show,
the same set over and over, right? So I feel like that also gives you time in between to you're making new content. You can revise your set list and do a completely different show, months apart or whatever it is.
Are you on like TikTok and all that stuff too, or just like Instagram, YouTube?
Yeah, just Instagram and YouTube. I do have a Twitter and all that, but I'm not active on it. To be honest, I've kind of stayed low key on all the social media stuff. Yeah. And when I really first started doing my music, that was not a motivation at all.
Yeah.
My thought process was kind of like people who want to find my music or need to find my music will.
Right.
But I don't think that's the right mentality to have, especially I feel like I have a message with my music, so I feel like it's better to, engage with people. Yeah, so I'm at that stage, but the TikTok thing I haven't jumped on yet. Yeah, I know it's kind of foolish in an artist's eyes, right? Because, that's where the most engagement I feel like is happening these days, but
I don't think it's for me, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even just like doing little videos like spitting a verse or something.
I mean, you know,
Too many people do it already, kind of thing. You don't want it to be like played out, I guess.
not really, man. I just feel like that's just not who I am as a person, man. Like I don't even have much content out of like videos and that sort of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of low key and in the background,
Yeah.
and you see me at shows or whatever. But you know, that's ever changing. And I'm open to new ideas and you know what's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any albums in the works, or you're just working on like these single releases once a month?
Yeah, for now I think it's singles, man. Like that's pretty much been what I've done too with my releases. I have one project called The Book of Aaron.
Yeah.
That was like the first project I did. I think that was 2014 or something like that. And then I did like a Lost Tapes, that was freestyle mixtapes.
Yeah.
So it was just like, you know, nothing written. It was just freestyles over a few years that I made into a tape. I put that out, I think 2016 or something like that.
Right.
And then the 3-part project I just wrapped up and just did my last release on December 26th. It was the part 3 of that called Never Know. And that's featuring Xander Sladen, you might know him.
Yeah.
And he killed that track, man, but it's a cool one.
Yeah. He's super talented.
Super talented, man, yeah. And that just worked out so well. But those are the only real projects I've done, and in between it's always just been kind of singles.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even call any of those an album, you know,
Right.
I'd call them just like a mixtape or whatever. It's tracks that, you know, I wouldn't say there's a sequence to them and there's no
Right.
like real flow to a progressiveness of an album.
Yeah.
So that's probably in the works in the next few years, but for now I'm kind of focusing on singles and little mini projects and collaborating.
Is there any local artists that you already have on your radar that you want to collab with that you haven't yet?
Yeah, there's definitely some artists for sure. Morgs is an old school artist in Kelowna. He's been doing it for years, and he's just back on the scene. Just dropped a new project, so I'm looking to get on something with him in the near future here. I've got one in the works with Likewise 97. That's Mike at Museworks Audio and Aaron in there. And I'm doing a nice project with a New York artist, but that's not local. But I was supposed to link up with Mixed Emotions and Society last year, and it just kind of fell through on a track. So, you know, I'm always very open. You know, Serenadia is someone also we were going to work on a track. It just didn't really work out. So
both those guys are dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just
guy and girl, I guess.
For sure. For sure, man. There's so much talent here, and again, I'm just meeting a lot of people. I just met an artist, Just Reed, hoping to collaborate with him in the near future, you know, so there's a lot of talent in the Okanagan, man.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
The rap scene in the Okanagan is just like getting huge. It seems like new rappers are popping up like every day.
Yeah.
And everybody's taking it like super serious.
Yeah, and there's so many different flows too and styles, right? That's the one thing is I feel like geographic, you know, location influences a lot of, you know, who people become as an artist. But I feel like the Okanagan is such a melting pot of styles and flows, and people have different influences, right? You know, a lot of people come from different backgrounds. It might not be hip hop the whole way or whatever, right? So you can hear those different influences when you listen to different artists, and I think that's just a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's like 3 of your favorite artists that you're bumping like right now?
Yeah. You know, I always gotta say Styles P. Styles P is like one of my favorite artists. Yeah, I got to see him live in London some years ago, and yeah, D Block and that was huge as a staple as a kid, right? Jadakiss and Styles P always are standout, you know, artists for me. But I'd say Styles P. I'm listening to a lot of. Brother Ali lately.
Nice.
Yeah, and I just kind of started bumping his stuff in the last few years, man. Like when I was growing up, I wasn't as much into the conscious hip hop or hip hop that was, you know, speaking on you know, heavy topics or stuff that really matters. And Brother Ali kills that, man. And it's
the whole Rhymes there is like label just
for real, man. For real.
Yeah.
Evidence is another one. He's that whole crew, like Dilated Peoples, man. That's the type of music that stands out to me and really speaks to me.
Dude, Evidence is a guy too that like I feel like his like latest albums are just getting like better and better.
For sure, man.
His skill and delivery and like just how clear he says everything and try to just get it out.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. That's the type of music that I'm listening to these days.
Nice.
So my latest release is Never Know featuring Xander Sladen. That came out on December 22nd. and that's on all your streaming platforms. So you can check that on Spotify. AR Uplifting. You can find me on Spotify, Instagram, Twitter. AR_uplifting on Twitter. But I don't really post on there. If you're really looking for most of my music, again, that's going to be on SoundCloud, and that's SoundCloud-AR-uplifting. But if you just search AR Uplifting on SoundCloud, you'll be able to find that. And yeah, just looking forward to a good 2023. Lots of new music on the way, new collaborations on the way, and hoping to hit the stage a good few times, man.
So, all right, that's gonna wrap up this episode of Bars with Bell. Catch you guys in a month.